I finally did it. It's working. All right. I'm going to introduce the teacher, Dave Holt. Now, I don't go on and on like some people do, because why bother with that? You're listening to him now. Poets do many things. Poets speak from the heart. They speak from the mind, they speak from the soul, they speak in English and all the other languages you can possibly imagine. They speak in ways that cannot really truly be understood completely. Yet they are as clear as one might wish. Sometimes uncomfortably so. You don't want to hear what they have to say because they're telling you it's the truth, and it goes in and starts rattling around and you go, but I don't want to think that. Okay. But Dave has passion and compassion. He has the world, a good voice, a perspective. He is helpful, kind, can be easygoing, right? Okay, sometimes. I didn't want to say that without giving him a chance to say, well, he's a great poet, lots of things. He's a singer-songwriter, he's multifaceted. He's going to present tonight. I am honored to have him here, and you will be pleased and well satisfied. Give him a round of applause as he comes up here. Dave Holt, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, you're a professional. Okay. All right. And then after the break, we'll be taking a short pause in which this will not be operating, so you won't have to worry about being heard or insulted.
Thanks for having me. It's great to be in a place where good English is spoken. I have heard nothing but good English tonight. But don't watch TV. Not these days.
It's for you.
All right. When I entered music, it was the folk scene. And I'm going to refer to it here. You can be forgiven for not knowing any of these references because the folk scene is an astonishing half-century ago.
Yeah. Oh
right?
My God.
I mean, it actually is still going. But that's when the heyday, the flowering was.
Tom Dooley.
He thinks of Tom Dooley. I think of Tom Rush.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Well, the song I meant.
Oh, yeah. Hang down your head. Death is a doorway. Watching him on stage, folk singer of train songs, sea shanties, and tales of sailing ships that carry our dreams. Tom Rush, hero of my youth, pointed me toward the horizon, showed me death is a doorway. Backstage, a bottle of Boone's Farm helped him navigate by starlight. He found his power in reckless movements, same ones derailed my youth. If you're wise, defeats like shipwrecks teach you to listen to the sea. I once saw one of the great blues men, Son House, laid out in the green room on a table like his death slab, muse of my song in a pork pie Stetson and a mohair suit, too incoherent to sing his pain as a path to follow. I listened for the voice of John Hurt, black angel who rescued me. This is the hammer that killed John Henry, but it can't kill me. No, it can't kill me. He picked that sunburst guild guitar, sang from the reeds by the mighty Mississippi. I saw his bowler hat floating on the water, where dreams sail away to the horizon, where death is a doorway and pain is a path to follow. Mississippi John, saint of the river, rose up from the broken shards of his body like Osiris, the Egyptian god. He weren't going down that big road by himself. He was going with them angels and they was playing on their blues harps. Ain't going down that big road by himself. He was going with them angels and they was blowing the blues. death of the spirit. This is called Broken Cup. If a heart is broken too many times, can the beating love reemerge, reform, regrow through scars? Words in a book don't teach it. Can't help one's perplexity about the meaning of it. Too easy to kill. A hard snowfall late in the season will do it, or hot sun can wither the new spring growth. You remember how she'd fuss over us, teacup in hand, a nervous condition that rattled the saucer, dropped it once, spilled the tea, shattered fragments, good china littered the floor, like tears of the frustrated and better deserving. In your young confusion, an innocent shrug as you picked up the cup handle, still intact, and held it toward her, imploring. She averted her face. You sensed anger, disappointment, but the struggle, the pain, the survival, you didn't see it there. Maybe you were taught by example, trained all your days to never show vulnerability, yet constantly needing reassurance. We all require some safety, somewhere to feel unafraid. With loved ones, you ask, can I entrust this frailty to another? If a trusting face is shamed often enough, sent into the wrestling ring of life, thrown into the deep end of the pool, driven down the last trail at the end of days, lost through gorse and thorn, can it bring its glow out of isolation? Another destination intended, fulfillment expected, a light that shouldn't be extinguished. I saw your fire again, a mission of zeal, your resolve to hold life at arm's length no longer, the force that carried you, renewed faith as you charged into the room. Faces turned to see, but you came on so strong, so new to the harsh light of an outside world. The bloom faded in the face of contradiction, opposition. Doubts returned. You withdrew into wounds, to a shivering darkness, fire out, hearth cold. Your boundaries were violated. The therapist told you, but you didn't know where they were, where the province of yourself began and adjoining territories ended. You gave up organizing yourself, accepted falsehoods and bribes, placed no guards at the border, so your country was invaded continuously. Who can help your rescue? Repair the broken cup, that love might come and fill it up. All right, so it is rumored that I'm Native American. I will confirm the rumors. I believe in the whole self, right? So if there's something in yourself that is negated and hasn't been integrated, that's the work you need to do. And so I've set out to do that, against my mother's wishes, but she got involved. So this is called identity disorder. What do you say when they ask if you're Native American? I say yes, if time is short, when a yes or no suffices. If there's time to explain, I tell them about our Irish grandfather, your Ojibwe Indian mother. You're a rascal, she replies. Better than times she called me crazy, gone mad. My mother talking. Same faint-hearted daughter of the tribe, whose facial expressions I studied when the tribal historian leaned toward her. You're eligible for Robinson Treaty money. You're 1/4 Indian. She never made a move to claim it. Not even as my sister hoped for the grandkids' sake. To continue denying the past, she must muzzle me. Res dog barking at the stars, and Gashkadini Gishis, freezing moon that halos the heart. I try to make up for 100 years of loss and neglect, a family separated from its legacy. I sweep the debris from the grandparents' gravestones, offer my prayers to the arc of sky, to times past and passing, the rainbow of history. It would be easy to keep quiet. Take the hammer you passed down and put another nail in the American Indian coffin. This is a fantastic collection, if I do say so myself. I'm only one. Oh, good, thank you. I'm only one poem in here. I feel honored.
What is the name of this book?
It is called Red Indian Road West, Native American Poetry from California. We are like a club these days. We go around together reading to people. It's been wonderful. Kind of like, kind of like this club here, I guess. It's smaller, but. So this is mine. I'm not a Californian Indian, so I had to try pretty hard to get in this book. The way I did it was writing about the Pomo from Sonoma County. I knew a lot of Pomo. I knew their story, I knew their history. So I wrote about them, and somebody liked it. Murder in the modern West. Pomo gambler hits the card rooms, meth labs and bar brawls feed the heartbreak playing on the jukebox. Songs should be sung about God's country, stolen, the inhabitants exiled. Instead of divorcees and go-go boots, cowboy ramblers, one-night stands, the fight for Indian land rights doomed. A dam got built, it drowned a sacred place, where willow plants and centroot brew, the harvest used for feather baskets. Kahawani ancient village prevailed 13 millennia, flooded forever. Families once gathered, laughed, gossiped at hot springs, become Lake Sonoma. A reservoir for water sports, motorboats, jet skis, a marina, and the culture museum to house dead things that remain.
Wow. Oh.
So, here's my indictment of the ruling class.
Hooray!
The chessmen. Once there was an association of chessmen. When the games were won, they were gathered from restaurants and cafes where they held audience. Boards folded up, snapped shut, captured the chessmen who jostled, collapsed into each other, their small wooden voices making weak protests. They were taken away, ensconced in back rooms of coughing bureaucrats, shuffling committee papers, reports stacked high under slow settling dust, then trotted out to meeting halls to take up new positions in public offices. People throughout the land raised their voices against the silent ones, not truly silent, though their dry mutterings could scarcely be heard above the sound of movements on the chessboard, played by unseen hands, by someone no one knew the names, but the moves registered decisions that were made. Those whose impassioned hearts still beat living blood make their appeals in vain, for the chessmen no longer hear or see or know those they were appointed to serve. The chessmen cast their predetermined votes against the living, for their thoughtless heads and pitiless hearts are made of wood.
Don't hold back.
Okay, time for a coyote story.
All right.
Actually, this one has about 6 coyote stories in it. So I call it Coyote's Missing Sitcom Episodes, but anyway. I've met Coyote a few times. One time I was with my wife when he came upon us head-on, running through the cover of tall grass. His dog-wolf stare met our eyes, Stunned, surprised, he screeched to a halt, footpads laying a patch of scratch. I got my nerve out to ask, "Hey, Coyote, what'd you do with Creator? Out here, out west, we seem to have lost him." Now, it must be said that Coyote has done much good for the world. When the animals gathered splinters of light from the sun, they stood around the willow basket debating how should they be placed in the heavens. While they argued, Coyote grabbed the basket of stars and threw them into the sky. He's a doer. He ain't no debater. I'd say Coyote might know he's not equal to Creator, but he can't resist stealing some glory when he can. He barked in reply to my question. "You's in tricksters for us now. I is an agent of the divine. God speaks through his clowns. You don't need Wakantanka or Gitchi Manitou, whatever you call him or her. Anyway," he sighed impatiently, "it was I created the world." Remembering that was a joke they used to tell in the sweat lodge, and how everyone knew his was the first big lie on Turtle Island, I answered, "Raven's up there shadowing us. I'll ask him, where's Creator gone?" Raven, in mocking croaks, called him on his game, started calling down fire from the sky, and Raven's laughter echoed through the hills. Coyote was still dancing between the flames when I asked him about Cousin Nanabush. "Was that you who appeared to my cousin in the meadow, piling abuse on top of his burden of pain?" Nanabush, first culture hero of the Anishinaabe, seen in lonely despond, paddling aimlessly astride a log on the floodwaters that destroyed the first world, a world of two-leggeds who learned all skills from him. Coyote hangs out his tongue like an untold joke, saying he was ignoring the Kanehiwea, all our relatives. I told him, that misfit, that miracle, Nana Boujou, turn away from your reflection in the water where you see yourself as the young hero you was. You need me now, not Great Spirit. With that, he fled for the river to cool off his hot foot. You see, Coyote does not hold such foolish beliefs as we humans do, that we can ascend out of our bodies. He nips at our heels, clips my wings in his teeth, keeps me grounded, growls, "Don't forget your people." That time by the river, I felt sorry for him. But unlike Raven, I held my laughter inside. I remember another time, many moon months later, he pretended not to notice us there in the trail. We saw Coyote on a precarious perch on a pine branch like he was a bird. He was getting juiced on blackberries, lost his grip, fell out of the tree, and we laughed. We couldn't help it. He finally made us laugh.
Oh, you got give us something else.
So I wrote this one several years ago. It was before I knew what Alberta tar sands were. Now I hear there's tar sands in Argentina, so it's not just Canada that's doing this. It's a very deep process of fracking to get oil from these things. It's very devastating to the environment and other things. So at the end of this poem, I decided I got to write about the tar sands because I dedicated this poem to well water and to the idle no more kids, generation of the seventh fire. Seventh fire is the fulfillment of the prophecies of the Ojibwe, the Anishinaabe, and other tribes. So people are looking to that generation now for that. God bless them. Hope they can do it.
Standing Rock.
Yeah, Standing Rock, right. Well water makes good pie crust. The well. I smelled a pie baking in the oven. Oh man, I was stuck inside of memories, wanting to see Grandma again, in her apron at the kitchen sink, washing white flour dust off her hands under the tap, cold well water tasting of iron and minerals, the pure water of the old ones that must be protected. The apple. Next time we meet, I'll bring questions. I want to eat the apple of history. What happened to the sacred tree, Grandma? The one that was uprooted, where was it taken? She's gonna laugh, shake her head. Honey, I don't know, don't remember. I'll try again, though her objections cut like a sword in the hands of a paradise angel. With that blade, I could peel the forbidden apple. Will she let down her guard long enough? I can grab that apple peeler. Can an elder be tricked into telling old stories of the hallowed tree from the wee guas birch bark scrolls? Grandma was born in a time foretold in the Seven Fires prophecy, the era of the sixth fire, when elder mothers lost the respect of rebellious daughters like my grandma. The legend of great-grandma's herb garden passed into forgetfulness. I must see her story retold, shared. I come back to you, Maria Olga de Basagi, renowned midwife, preserver of herbal knowledge. Can we revive good medicine now the children of the seventh fire have come? The oil patch. Disregarding secret earth and its needs, oil barons see only profits in Alberta tar sands. They strip forests, divert rivers, drain wetlands to reach the oil. Ponds of toxic waste leak into groundwater. Failing regulations are leaky too. We fight against the oversight. Still, no delay comes our way. The extraction plan expands like cancer that spreads and grows among the Athabascan people. Elk and caribou herds die out. The pure well water and grandma's pies lose their natural sweetness. It's the last shake of the dinosaur's tail before we take the Gasosaurus down.
Yeah, what do you want to do?
I want to finish on something kind of pleasant. So, this is called River of Delight, between me and my daughter with this poem. One early morning we saw a coyote in the dry wash hunting in Pine Creek as my daughter and I drove to school. Her eyes lit up to see a wild animal in the middle of town by this last remnant of rustic road. The day which threatened the prospect of another dull task of sitting in a classroom suddenly brightens. To discover the river of delight in a child's eyes. To watch as joy comes barefoot. To splash in the waters of innocence on its journey to ocean beyond. To recover one's own capacity for wonder.
Wow. Dave Holt, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, dear. Thank you. Give him another round, one more.
So we're going to take a little bit of a break. It's a tradition here, but before we do, let me just show you the second half. We have Melissa, Jason, Tom Holmberg, John Speary, Ed McHugh, Charles, Karen Milanda Lagoon, Eric Monroe, Buford Bunt, who makes, and we got Garrett Murphy who came in. So we had a really great second half. And next week we have Adriana Zawinski. If you have never heard her, she's a really great poet. So we're going to pause that, schmooze, and talk to him. Be back in just a moment.
Very good, Brady.
Hey, you got to sign in. I'm going to read.
Now let me just see if I can do